Roger, first of all, I just want to kind of run down your career, your history at Clarinda, and kind of take me, when it kind of started and all the different things you've done.
1983, I started doing some junior high and some scouting for Jeff Anderson at the high school level. In 1986, I went on the staff with Jeff and coached there as an assistant, offense, defensive line. And I worked at freshman basketball for 2 or 3 years. That was one of the funnest times I ever did. We were 0-12, but it was the funnest coaching I ever did. We did a lot of kids were just great. And then I did stayed with football with Coach Anderson, and then Coach Schrader came in and was next. I'm not sure on all the dates, but Coach Schrader was my next football head coach, and then I went from basketball, transition, did some worked with Don Cox as assistant high school wrestling coach, from basketball to wrestling, and stayed with football. And I did with Coach Schrader for a few years, and then Coach Carper came in the 90, 93 maybe, and worked a long span with Coach Carper. That's when I started in 93 with Coach Carper with track. Started doing throwers with the throwers with Coach Carper in track. And so I was an assistant coach with him for a couple years on the offensive defensive line, and then he offered me the defensive coordinator job, and we had a good run for 10 years, and of course we had great athletes. I mean, and our coaching staff was longevity with the coaching staff. We had a good run, and then Coach Schrader, Coach Carper left, and then Coach Lindsay, Jim Lindsay, was an alumni, came in and did the head job for a couple, 3 years, and then Coach Shield came in now, who's recently still the head coach, and he was an alumni. Both guys, I coached both of those guys. So, so I did junior high football. I did basketball for the freshmen, did wrestling with the high school, and then stayed with football the whole time, and still doing track and football at this time.
You mentioned coaching Coach Lindsay and Coach Shilb, and then now coaching for them or with them. What's that like? What's the dynamic like that? Like, it means you've been there around a while, but is it kind of different?
Yeah, always head coach I always felt should be into the school system. And of course, I work outside the school system. I think it's a good idea to have the head coach be there, and it was kind of neat to see those guys come back and contribute. And then Coach Shield, each coach brought their own identity. Coach Shield brings a lot of enthusiasm, and he's glad to get back here. And it's different. I coach those guys, then I'm coaching kids that I used to coaching with guys I used to coach, and then their kids are coming and coaching their kids. So it's a great experience.
As you mentioned, you work here at the fire department. How did you get into the coaching thing? What drew you to that?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, the same thing with the fire department. You probably know Joe Moore around here, and he had mentioned to Coach Anderson that, hey, Joe worked with me at Lyles, and you maybe ought to give Roger Williams a call. He might be interested in coaching some football. He did the same thing for me in the fire department. So I think I played women's softball with Jeff, Coach Anderson, and he approached me and said, "You interested in doing some coaching?" And so I went and started doing the coaching authorization, which is a lot different now. It took like 9 months then, and so I did got that all accomplished and got on the staff. So yeah, Jeff Anderson approached me, and that's when I first got started.
Awesome. Just kind of circling back around, maybe before your coaching career began, tell me about growing up. Where did you grow up, and where did you graduate? And then I assume you played some sports too.
I grew up here in Clarinda. I did football, wrestling, and track. I did the field events and the track, and played football. And then I was doing the old thing, going to go to college and play football. Then I got an injury and put it off. You're going to rehab and go back next year. The next thing you know, you've got a family and a job, and you don't go back. And so I was always interested in getting back into the football aspect. I really loved football, and then the opportunity came, and I ran with it, and just never looked back.
What years were you playing at Clarinda? Who was your coach?
Coach Bill O'Reilly in 1980, 75, 76, 77, and 78. Had Coach O'Reilly was 76 and 77, and Coach Steve Chambers from the area. People should know him. He was my coach as a senior, and I took a lot. All the coaches I've been around, whether I played for them or coached with them, you take something from all of them. And Coach Chambers really taught me how to, kids were important and treat the kids right. And I took that. We still talk to each other after a football game in Clarinda. We spend an hour afterwards, and we still remain friends. In Hawkeye 10, I played in the Hawkeye 10, and we coached in the Hawkeye 10. And a lot of guys over the years, Coach Blatt, Coach Schilling from Atlantic, Sturbeck from Glenwood, Padilla from Lewis Central, Berge. The guys, the Bergstrom from Creston, we all knew each other. There was a big, good fraternity, And I guess we're talking about coaching today. I'd like to. My prayers go out to the Hinkle family. That was a big coaching loss with the passing of him. And those guys that kind of all moved on. The only one left is Coach Blatt, and I guess Coach, we're still around, but and we had different districts, But it was always a pride to play in Hawkeye 10 and instill that on the kids nowadays. That they, back in the day, Hawkeye 10, we relished that and played that, and I think it helps us keep reminding kids as I coach.
Yeah, Steve Chambers actually worked for KMA, did a little reporting for us there for a little while. You mentioned how you took something from all the coaches you played for and coached with. Can you kind of maybe, I'm gonna put you on the spot, go through there and kind of talk about maybe what you you talk what you took from Coach Chambers, maybe some other factors you took from some of these guys?
I'll tell you, Coach Schrader was a big motivator. I mean, he could get guys through a brick wall. And then I took a lot from him. He still sends emails every day, motivational things, and that I get from him. Coach Carper was really planned out. I mean, we knew what we were going to do every day in practice. It's a good schedule. X's and O's guy. And I took that from him, and trying to think back things. Coach Shield he brought a lot of enthusiasm now when he's here. Brought back some old traditions, Cardinal Pride, and all of those guys that I worked with all cared about kids. And that keeps me. That's number one thing. I worked at the prison for 33 years before I come here, so as a full-time fire chief. So when you get out of the prison, I go out. That's a different world out there, So you get to the football field and relax and be around the kids, and it's just fun to be around the kids, and I just love what I do.
Well, I want to ask you about, since you've coached for how many, 30-some years or whatever, a lot of people will say, the kids have changed. It's harder to coach them now. Do you see that at all?
Oh, I think it's a little bit different. A lot of specializing going on, and I think it's bad. Kids should experience high school. You can't just get a pickup football game. Basketball you can, It's hard to get a bunch of guys together and have a wrestling meet. So enjoy. I think the kids specialize a little bit too much. I think today parents push kids a little bit more than they should. It's something about having fun. And I think the politically correctness in the world today kind of hurts, coaching. I think the eyes are on the coaches constantly on all levels, with social media right there. So it's a little bit different, but the kids are all the same. And the kids respect you. If you earn respect, they gain respect, and they'll play for you if you do the right things. And I enjoy doing that. And I think the kids are still kids. So I think times have changed, politically correctness, and they made some parent things, but the kids are still the kids.
One thing that maybe hasn't changed is that 4-4 defense, right? Can you tell me about how you developed that and how the success you've had with that?
Well, when I first started, when Coach Carper asked me to be a defensive coordinator, Coach Jeff Bevins, he left for his job in Creston, so I had 3 days' notice you're going to be defensive coordinator. So we stayed with the 5-3, and I just didn't have a lot of fun doing that with the kids, having fun moving around. So at a basketball game, Gaylord Schilling from Atlantic, he had a son same age as mine, 8th grade at the time. We went to the 8th grade basketball game. Of course, we're talking football. and I really liked his 4-4 defense he had. So we're taking notes, and that's how I picked that up from them. And of course, at the time, great athletes. Brian Hummel, Drew Williams, Scott Schnook, guys in the middle. I had big, guys at the line. You can move people around, and then at the 4-4, you could so many different things you could do with it. Change fronts, change different things to get after people, and just made it fun. And it's worked quite a while for us.
Definitely has. Kind of jumping around here a little bit. I wanted to touch on this real quick. You mentioned about parents maybe pushing kids a little bit too hard at points, but you're a parent yourself. Can you talk about your kids and they've had a lot of success in sports too?
Yeah, it's tough coaching. My oldest son Drew was my first coaching with my son. I can remember him being 4 years old when I started coaching, and then he grew up, watching around the game, and he knew what it's all about. He had some injuries, but you had to treat him all the same, and it was easy for me because he was a running back and a linebacker, and I did line. So, then my younger two boys are linemen. They're playing together, and it was kind of. I think the coaches are probably harder on their own kids than they are other people's, but it's still it's an enjoyment to see your kids grow and they earn everything that they did, and that's answer your question or not, but
yeah, definitely. Mention we're talking a lot about football here, so move on to the track side of things, where you've developed quite a reputation there for the throwers, and you've developed some throwers, including your son Cy. What is he all thrown in? He was throwing some like hammer and stuff here towards the end of his college career.
He went to Grandview in Des Moines and NIAA, if I can say it right, and he threw the hammer and threw the weight meet, great throw. And he went to, I think it was 3-time national qualifier, but that's an event I have in high school we don't see. And threw the shot put in the discus, and he had success. His groundwork in the high school level with the shot put in the discus, and he had some helps with the form and had success at that level. And I just never could. That's beyond my means with the hammer. And
what are your three boys doing now?
Cy is in Grandview. He's in Des Moines, not in Grandview. Drew is in Kansas City teaching. The Bo is in Pella. He works at the college in Central.
I hear from Bo every now and then. Tell me about your coaching philosophy and the throwers. Where did you kind of come from, your own experience, or like I said, you've developed quite a reputation there as a coach of the throwers.
Oh, you take things from different people. We have different techniques. Go to a lot of clinics over at Grandview. They have a great clinic over there. But just about being consistent and working hard. And Mr. Sheriff playing for the Redskins now, Dennis, and he was actually a great shot put thrower. He was a little unorthodox, so you don't always have to go by the book, but it's what you feel comfortable with. We give kids different options. You can glide, you can spin, or rotate, different things, and just make them feel comfortable and push them, we throw in all kinds. If it's raining outside, we're going to go throw. If it's snowing outside, we go throw, because here come the state meet, and I guarantee you, with the girls and boys, Kaylee Boo, she was her first time throwing in the state meet. It was in 2 inches of water in the ring, and we practiced that, so put them in all different environments and just try to make it fun. It's like all the sports that I try to, if it's not, you don't go out there and football when it's 2 days and it's hot, and track when it's cold. If you're not having fun, why be there? So we try to make it fun.
It's interesting you mentioned Kaylee Boo, because I was about ready to bring her up, because that is not somebody I would have ever imagined would be a thrower. How did that come about, and was she just natural, or did it take a while?
She was natural as far as form went. We had to work on throwing so many different parts. You got to keep the elbow up. You got to stay back with your hips. So many different things, and she had good form. We just had to work on that. But she was a monster in the weight room. She go up to the weight room, and now she still holds records up there. And she stayed low, and she used her legs low to high, and she was able to be coached. She was a great kid that you could coach, and she'd listen. And she just had some natural ability, and then of course she worked hard in the weight room. And you got to do that in all sports nowadays. If you're not working in the weight room, you're not going to be successful.
gotta ask you to reach back into your memory here a little bit. Anybody you can think of that kind of showed up on the first day, and you're like, this isn't good, and then eventually they blossomed into something that was pretty special, throwing wise.
Oh, throwing wise, Jared Hadner didn't seem like he was going much of a thrower, and he ended up being pretty good. Jared DeVoe started off kind of slow, and he came in and blossomed into that. Geez, Rod, you put me on the spot there.
Well, you came up with 2. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Bo, I should say youngest. Cy was, a little bit bigger, and Bo had to work for a lot of things. He wasn't, and he come out and threw. He didn't go to state or anything, but he had a lot of gains. He threw almost 50 feet, and he was a big surprise, I guess, as far as distance he could get.
You've been again 30ish years there here at Clarinda. Has there ever been a point where you've come to and just said, okay, I'm done now?
Yeah, I think when Coach Gard, we had a good run, and I think you as a coach, football coach anyway, and even throwing, you remember your disappointments more than you do your wins and losses. Your kids' heartbroken they don't make the state in the throwing events, or one tip away from a ball for going to the state. But I'm not sure what year it was. I think when Coach Carper left, I thought, well, it's about time for me to go. And I don't know if I should bring, Mrs. Aldridge had a couple of sons, Trent and Troy, and she was going through chemo. She had battling cancer. She went to school. She worked at the school. And she heard I was thinking about, she said, hey, if I can go through this, you can do a few more years. So it kind of got me going again, and rejuvenated, I guess, a little bit. And then once I talked to my son Drew a lot, and I said, well, I'll get grandkids now. Maybe it's time to step back and start enjoying that a little bit and spending more time with them. And he said, Dad, as long as you love doing that and you're healthy enough, you keep doing it. And that's what I've been doing so far.
Yeah, I can't stop without talking about some of the biggest successes you've had on the football field. What did you go to the Dome 1 year?
Went to the Dome back to back. With Coach Schrader, we went to the semis before the Dome. We went to Denison and lost Emmitsburg, and then we went with Coach Carper, lost Emmitsburg. Next year, right back, we lost Emmitsburg. We were ahead of that game, so. Emmitsburg had kind of been a thorn in our side a little bit. But yeah, I guess Eddiesville, to get to the Dome 1 year, they had a young man, I can't think, he was playing quarterback for UConn the year after that. Anyway, he was a good quarterback. We had to come up with a scheme to try to stop him, and it was going to be tough. And we ended up 50-pointing him, and they had like 45 yards offense, and it was just a great. That's a memory, to get to the Dome. But
what team was that?
Eddiesville, Blakesburg, yeah. At the time, we had the record for the most points in the playoffs until I think one of the 8-man schools beat us a couple years later. But yeah, I think nowadays, we talk about what memorized wins and losses or something. When you get older, for me, I enjoy practice more than the games anymore. Or if a kid all of a sudden he learns how to plant his foot and pull and step the right direction, put his head to the inside and kick out, and he's got it finally. He does it just perfect in practice. That's better than winning a football game, or a guy that learns how to put his hands on people and shock, lock, separate, and get to the ball. And so I think when you get older, things mean no more to you, or small things. Yeah. I think.
I get that. What's the future of Clarinda? What's it look like for football wise? How's it look?
Well, the youth program's doing really well. Junior high's doing well. We're Coach Hill came in and we had to transition. We're working hard in the weight room. I think good things in the future. I think we got some young kids working hard, and I think the big thing, to be successful, you got to learn to be a family and be together. I mean, look at Northwestern, Maryville, Northwest Missouri State. They just won a national title, and those guys, they love each other. They work with each other. So it can't be individuals. And I think we're working on that hard, working hard in the weight room, and I think big things for us in the future.
Roger, thank you very much. I think Clarinda thanks you for all your great years, and I thank you for taking time out today.
Well, thanks for covering sports. You do a great job, and every Friday night we're clicking on KMA to see the scores, and I appreciate all you guys do.
And I got to ask you about this Denise, mutual friend of ours. She's kind of crazy, isn't she?
Yes, she is. She told, yeah, she told me to take it easy on you today. So.
And you listened.
Yes, I did.